Everything is working. I should have set up beforehand. I'm slightly off. That's okay. I don't think I'm off enough. It's slightly crooked. Hi, it's me again. Remember me? Where do I even begin with this? I have everything kind of all laid out in front of me, but I didn't really lay out a proper intro for myself. But anyways, you know who I am. You get the idea. Pull my mic closer, and there's nobody here watching anyways at the moment. So if you're watching this on repeat or watching this later on, maybe I'll put a little skip to at the beginning if you want to bypass all this nonsense. Not ready. Got a gravelly throat. This seems to always happen every time I start chatting. I'm doing it again. I'm looking at the monitor over here because I've got Streamlabs open over here. No, I do not use OBS. OBS is too problematic. It's got issues. Doesn't like me for some reason. So we're not using that. I'm hoping I'm coming through on the mic and I'm not echoing. I haven't muted. I haven't done any of that, because if it does, then I'm probably just going to trash the live for the night. So if somebody comes in here in like 20 minutes and says, there's no audio or you're echoing, that'll be that. Now, I started to cry. I put up a video last week. If you didn't see it, I kind of recommend maybe go watching it real quick. It's about 10 minutes though. 10, 11, 12 minutes. I was just blah, blah, blahing away. And I talked a bit about the fact that, shit keeps hitting the fan. And it doesn't stop. So after all that I talked about, I had a plan. I was going to keep moving forward. I still intend to. I'm still going to try. But it happened again. I said it. I said that anvil is going to drop out of the sky and it's going to land clean on my head. As soon as I start to do something tries to push me. When I try to take that step forward, something pushes you 2 steps backwards. That's kind of what happens every single time. Even when I just talk about taking a step forward, I don't even attempt to make it. I'm already like, boom, just instant pushback. No, you can't have this. And life hates me. So, I have to move. I have to move again. Remember when I just did this last year? Here we are again. I knew this spot was not going to be permanent. I knew that. I thought maybe between 2 to 4 years, and it's been just over 1. I won't go into the reasons right now. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right for me to discuss the reasons why. We'll just say it's just not, I'm not the right fit for here, and it's not conducive to doing this kind of work that I want to do. Some things started happening earlier in the year, and they're continuing. It's kind of noisy, we'll say that. There's work being done, and I can't be in the environment like that. So I think it's best if I go, and I had an offer. For everybody that's going, where are you going? I have an offer to move in with a friend of mine. It's back to the north part of Mississauga. I always said I never wanted to go back to Mississauga. Somehow, I always wind up back in Mississauga. Mississauga's not bad. It's just parts of it are heavily congested. It's a big city. It's a big, big city. Like it's closing in on 1 million people. It's a big city. And fortunately, I'll be in the northern part. Mississauga is a bit bizarre because it's broken up into all these different areas that all have, and they're all almost little mini towns that make up this big city, but we just call it Mississauga. If you were to address it, it would be Mississauga. And I guess I'll be going to the north end of it, an area called Meadowvale, which is way up. It's like past, if you know the area, if you're familiar with the GTA, if you're not, it's way up past Streetsville. It's but Mississauga is right next to Toronto. It's part of Toronto. The GTA is the Greater Toronto Area, so it's part of that whole thing. But Mississauga is a city unto itself. That being said, I'm going for a year, provided everything kind of keeps moving forward. I'm just going to go for a year. I don't want to stay there permanently. I don't want this arrangement to be permanent. I'll be staying there for a year, and then I will. I'd like to come back to Burlington because I really like Burlington. I fell in love with this little city. I always said this is kind of where I would set up my forever home. I would love to just unpack here and make it my home, and I'd love to find a nice little apartment. I came really close. I was turned down for an apartment last year, but I came really close to getting it. They wanted wealthier people in there, I guess. I don't know. But I was actually fairly close to getting it. I just I got bumped out at the I shouldn't say at the last minute. It turns out that there was about 4 or 5 people trying to get the same apartment. I didn't know that, and they went with somebody else. So I wound up here because I didn't have much time. And anyways, I'm kind of going on a little too long with this. But anyways, I'll be staying with a friend of mine. It'll be cheaper. I'm hoping to save money, and then I can move back and eventually get my studio back. This is kind of where I was kind of leading it to, is that I would like to get my work studio set up again. Do you remember my videos, my live streams from about a year ago? That nice big background behind me, and I had ideas for that. I was trying to get something together to have a table and like a little spinny thing, and I had the lights set up. And I had ideas for that fell through the cracks. Just how I wound up here. I shouldn't say fell through the cracks. Anyways, I wound up here. I'm looking at notes. Was there anything else I needed to talk about? I do want to move back, though. I do want to move back to Burlington. And I'd like to get a proper place where I can set up a proper studio and do all the fun stuff that I was doing. Now I know I'm going to have, that'll be August 1st, but I'm going to have to go through the process of packing. It won't be like last time because after the last move, a lot of my stuff went into storage and is still sitting in storage. That's expensive. So I still have to keep it. I'm going to have to go through and do some massive purging, and some of my stuff here will go into storage, and the rest can go with me. But it shouldn't be too bad. It won't be like last time. I hope. And I don't. Maybe instead of hiring movers, maybe I'll see if I can get some people to help me this time. Hiring movers was really expensive. It was really expensive. Holy cow. Expensive. Can you hear me? There's nobody watching. I had one person for a few minutes. I got boring. So we'll see if we can get something going here again. I'm going to set up through the drawing monitor because I don't have the desk set up properly. And now with this news, I probably won't have that set up properly. Maybe I might try one. We'll see. But coming up, I have to start the process of packing and starting to purge, get rid of more things. I've said this before, and I'm going to say this. If people always kind of look and they go, wow, you have a lot of stuff and you should get rid of things. And I'm just usually kind of the mind of like, shut up. I have what I have. The truth is, I don't really. If I had gotten that 1-bedroom apartment, if I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment, I could spread out normally, like a normal 1-bedroom apartment, and then you would see I have a normal amount of stuff. It is not, people seem to talk like I should be downsizing, like I should, what's the term? I should be living like a minimalist. Not everyone has to live like a minimalist. You are allowed to own things. You are allowed to have things in your life. The concern is where it becomes clutter. But if your space that you're moving into reduces considerably, and you're going into a small bachelor or a single room, and you have stuff for even just a 1-bedroom apartment, seriously, if you live in a 1-bedroom apartment or 2, take your life and shove it into a space half the size. And then everyone tells you have to get rid of your stuff. You have too much stuff. You don't have too much stuff. You've had to condense into a smaller space, right? I have stuff I inherited from my parents, that dishes that are over 100 years old. Should I have to part with that and send them to Value Village? I don't think that's a fair thing. And I don't think anyone should have to be forced to make that decision. I have a bad back, I'm sorry. I think anyone should have to be put in that position. You should be allowed to have those dishes that were your grandparents and have them the rest of your life, and then pass them to your kids or to family or whoever, right? They're there to look at and be enjoyed. That's what they were made for. What, throw it out and then get something from IKEA? Yeah, so that's kind of my feeling on this whole thing. Don't let people pressure you into having to get rid of your stuff. If you're kind of turning into a hoarder and you have a lot of stuff, if you're not using it, just get rid of it. Yes and no. Sometimes there are things that are just put aside because you do intend to use them, but when you're condensed into a smaller space, I get rid of it and then I have to buy it again when I come back or when I move back to a larger space. That just doesn't seem right either. What do you guys think? Yeah, I've been quiet lately. What are you looking at? So, yeah, so that's where I'm at. And I'm going down into a smaller space. So I'm putting my stuff in storage. Even my storage, I only have a 10 by 15 storage, and I'm trying to cram stuff into that. So I am going to have to go through and purge regardless. I am going to have to still do that. But, there are things I'm going to keep. I don't care. Don't care. I think that was kind of all I wanted to open with. I was saying I'm moving. Let me clear this. I was supposed to change the title and the wrong title came up because I put, if you tune into this and you're seeing a title on this, that title was not what I wanted to keep. And then when I noticed this stream was starting, the new title, I changed it to something else, but then the old one retained. So I don't know what happened. Oh, excuse me. Because I did eat today. Right, let's see here. I'm drinking tea. That's probably why. Clip Studio Paint. We're going to go on the monitor. I said drawing sucks. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. All depends. What is going on? All right, let me get something up. Oh gosh, I'll show you here. Oh, it did it again. Sorry, it just my mouse hit something and it kind of unhinged itself. There we go. But I'm seeing all this pixelation. I think it's the monitor. I might even have to sell my XP pen, which might not be a bad thing. I can get something else eventually, but we'll see. File, new. We'll just do, keeps opening the wrong monitor. Stop that. 16 by 9. There we go. Let's switch to the monitor mix. There we go. I don't know if you can see this. You see this up here at the top. I think that's the monitor. It does this sometimes. It'll eventually disappear. I'll switch to the pen. We'll see what this does. It still does it a little bit. Oh, wow. Look at that. All right. It is following this mouse back and forth. It will stop after a bit. I'm not sure why it does this. I really came in here tonight sort of just to talk. Didn't really have a plan for drawing anything specific. As I said, I've got all this physical media behind me, and I never get to open it. Now I can tell you all about what the fuck I'm doing. A lot of people kind of tune into these kind of channels wanting to learn how to draw. Now, if you are, if you like drawing and you just do it as a hobby for fun, there's lots of stuff that you can I don't know, there's lots of things you can find that can just draw the way you want, right? Draw anything you want the way you want. Now, there's a different group of people who are actually looking to do a little more with it. And if you're interested in pursuing a career with it, that's kind of a whole different ball of wax. And I can kind of gear towards either, really. Well, this is kind of messier than I intended it to be. That's all right. I'm saying a lot. I gotta learn to stop doing that. The more I do videos and live streams, the more I actually stop doing that. The less often that I do them, and I'm leaving long periods of time between doing streams. I notice that when I come back, I'm doing all the time, and I'm really trying not to do that. So I'm going to see if I can avoid that. And it's partially too when I start focusing on something I'm doing, and then I kind of lose track of what I'm saying. I need to kind of relax and just regroup my thoughts. This is kind of terrible. I'm breaking down some drawings. I was going to talk a little bit about what I'm doing, but I think I'm starting to do it again. I think I'm going to make a maybe do a different approach here. Short notice change, because I need to discuss this a little bit. If you really like drawing, And this is whether you're really good at it or you're really terrible or you're somewhere in the middle. Maybe you're terrible, but people are telling you that you're good and you feel like you're not. Wherever you're at, you can get better at drawing. But if you really feel like you suck, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself about that. And that's why most people kind of are. Like, there's groups of people. Why is that on there? Why do I have Gemini up here? Chrome. I don't have Chrome open. Why do I have that? Oh, it is open. Hold on. Ha. There we go. What was I saying? Where was I saying? Holy cow! My brain is gone. I have a really bad memory, and it's getting worse to the point that it's being a little concerning. Actually, I have a really, really bad memory. But whether you are good or bad at drawing, kind of at the beginning doesn't matter too much, because the people who are bad at drawing, you have a blank slate in front of you. You're in a position where you can start honing in your skills, and you can be honest with yourself the fact that this is terrible. The people who are good at drawing, a couple of problems can happen. Is the one that you can develop kind of an early ego. People tell you you're good, your drawings look good, you feel like you can do anything, but you end up missing out little details that could be wrong in your drawing that are these little imperfections that keep you from reaching that point you need to get at, especially if you want to be in a professional industry, in a professional art industry, and you're missing these points because either ego gets in the way, or the rose-colored glasses kind of go on, and you're looking at stuff going, well, I'm really good, and you might be really good too, but you're missing certain things that are preventing you from being at that level you need to be at. Whereas somebody who is sitting there and they're going, I can't draw. I'm really terrible, but I love it. I love putting a pencil to paper, and I want to be so good at it. But I need to practice, and I need to get better at it. And that's actually a really good position to be in. That's actually a really, really good position to be in, because now you are a blank slate. You can start honing in your skill to a specific direction. If whether you want to be a graphic artist, you want to get into animation, you want to, whatever you want to do, illustration, or whatever you want to do, whatever you want to get into, you can start honing those skills in. And as long as you keep humble about it, so to speak, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment, you can surpass and you can reach that level. As long as you kind of keep your eye on the goal of where you're at, you have to have a love-hate relationship with your own work. You should appreciate your work and who you are and what you're producing, but you've also got to learn to not look at your own work with rose-colored glasses and look for those imperfections. And there's ways you can do that. There's physical ways of doing it. There's just simply being honest about your own work. If something's not working, you might like an aspect of your drawing, and that's great. You like it, and it's like, I've drawn this really cool thing, and it looks really great. It could have a lot of problems in it, but be honest with the problems. The legs don't connect right. This isn't right here, or something's not working. Be honest about it, because you can go back in and fix that, right? And then you can make it even better. But don't just say, that's good enough. It's kind of a dangerous thing. Really experienced older artists never finish a piece of work. There's just a point where you have to put it down, leave it alone, because you need to start working on something else. But they never finish work. It always feels incomplete. It always doesn't feel quite right. But there is a point where it passes this level of acceptability, even in things like animation or in some sort of professional business, where it's like, okay, this has met the client's needs, maybe even surpassed it, even though it's still in your eyes maybe not perfect. And that's actually a good place to be, because now you can kind of put it down and move on, right? If that makes sense. Tell me if it's not. But if you're in a position where you, especially if you're young and you have to be really good at it, you find there's a point where you're just not growing. If you can accept that, hey, everybody likes my work and maybe I am pretty good at this, but there's still a lot of faults, whether other people are seeing it or not. I have to work on this, this, and this, then yes, you progress. So again, it doesn't really matter where you're starting at. Where you're starting at. You're just gonna grow, whether it's together or whatever, the same at different rates. How you are, just be open to taking a lot of criticism, good criticism, honest criticism. You suck is not a criticism. Careful who you get your criticism from. Don't ask friends. Don't ask people who don't really. You can ask someone even as a client. A client has an idea of what they want, but even the client doesn't have a full idea of what is good and what is working and what isn't. Client's a bit different. But as far as you're concerned, when you're looking at your own work, you have to learn to take off the rose-colored glasses. You need to start looking at something objectively as to what's working, what isn't. And if you can't see it, there are ways of seeing it. I'll show you something really quick. Years ago, remember we used to work on pencils and paper? Remember those things? Before the days of tablets? You could turn it over and hold it up to the light or hold it to a window and reverse it. And when you flip your work over, when you start seeing your work in reverse, you will see every horrible little mistake. It's terrifying, and because you'll think a piece is looking great, you're wondering if you should just fix this little thing. Maybe that's like not quite off, okay, right? And you're looking at it, and everything seems to be lining up, okay. Then you flip it, and everything wrong with it will come screaming at you tenfold. I promise you that. Try it. If you've never done that, you will hate yourself. Because one of the greatest little things that sneak up on you that your eye doesn't always see is we tend to draw in the same direction that we write. We learn in school to write on this lovely angle, right? So we, right, like this, right? So we get this nice flowing dynamic going on. And subconsciously, we're still doing that. Even we're drawing, even we try and look and we try and figure out a center line, and then we're trying to draw that circle, right? We're looking at characters with a head turn like I was just trying to do. Okay, let's do this, and then we'll grab a center line, and we'll do this kind of big head on it. And hello, Karos Vector. How are you? Seen the new game from the Shovel Knight guy? Oh, unfortunately, there's nobody else here. Actually, it says apparently there's 3 more viewers. I'm not sure what Shovel Knight is. If it's in video games, I am so far out of touch as far as what's out there in the video game world. I have no idea. But I know video games do put out like a lot of pretty impressive stuff. It's all digital work, but I would love to see, I would love to see the things they never let you see, which is all the preliminary work where you have to make this guy run around nose a bit. All the preliminary work where you have to see stuff that is pencil to paper, all the rough sketches, and I think that would be fantastic. The Wonder Phil guy, hello, I like your name. How are you? Thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening in. That's great. Thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it. That's great. You can absolutely listen in. It's nice to know people are here. So, now this guy, obviously I can see right off the bat, has some problems, but there's other little sneaky problems that we also don't see right away in our work. And I think those are the things we kind of need to figure out, right? And it says sometimes it's hard to objectively see your work and not see all the problems with it. So one of the ways is flipping it over. I'm just going to edit. Where are we here? Transform, flip canvas, flip horizontal. There you go. Ta-da! There's a whole bunch of things come screaming at me that I couldn't see earlier. The nose is offset. Whoops. Nose is way over here under his now left eye as opposed to actually coming off from the middle point. So that might be something I'll fix. They do a lot of cartoony 2D Pixar stuff. Oh, okay. Mina the Howler? No, I don't know that one. When you were starting to describe it, I was wondering if you were talking about something like Cuphead or something like that, which I think is a really cool looking game. Which apparently, Cuphead has a lot of like, it looks like hand drawn, and apparently a lot of it is hand drawn. And then just fed into the computer. That one I'm not as familiar with, only because I'm out of touch when it comes to video games. But you see here in this stage you can start drawing again with it, especially this is a nice thing about working on tablets. You can keep working at this point and figure out what needs to be fixed. Yeah, I would love to try it. I'm terrible at playing video games. I would enjoy the art, but probably get really mad because I would keep failing at everything because I just suck at video games. I'm just really terrible at it. So like even the eyes are kind of off. Let me switch to a kneadable eraser. I can't be too late. I am going to see the new apartment tomorrow. If you missed the first part of it, I'm moving again. Who didn't see that coming? Ugh. His chin is like way under here. Working at Babar? Oh, I worked on... Oh, so I worked... actually worked on Babar at Nelvana in Toronto, and that was in early to mid 90s. I just did in-betweening for a little bit. I didn't see a whole lot of it because I was just I just did in-betweening for a little bit, and I was never very good at in-betweening. I could do it. I just wasn't particularly very good at it, but I could do it. It was passable. It was fun. It was interesting. I just saw all the line key drawings. That's all I kind of saw was I get the key drawings coming through, and then you learn to flip and then put the drawings in between. Hence, this is the in-betweener. It was pretty straightforward. But after that, I got on for a little while. Most people know I worked on Rupert the Bear for a little while. That was enjoyable. I enjoyed working on Rupert the Bear. I was in layout, and layout's kind of a fun stage of animation because you get to do a little bit of everything. Because you have to draw the background, you have to lay in roughly where the character is going to be within that. You're not doing all the key drawings of the animation, but you're putting in important poses to indicate where that character is going to flow through the background. And the key animator has to go off of those drawings. You indicate where your match lines are. the camera setup. You're responsible for a lot, but it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing that. Nelvana was a good place to work. There were people there I knew from school, and there was it was, I remember being kind of a dark environment. It wasn't a very bright place, but I think that was on purpose. I also worked across the street from it at a place at the time was called Phoenix Animation, that was across the street from Nelvana in Toronto. And the only thing I did there, it wasn't terribly exciting, but I did what was it called? It was another elephant series, but it wasn't Babar. It was Mumphy. It's Mumphy's Magical Christmas, I think it was called. And all I did, it wasn't very exciting stuff. I was an assistant, but all I did was pick up work and then take it to the appropriate people. So I would take it from the layout artist, and then that was broken up into different packages. So the poses had to go to the key animator. The line drawings for the background had to go to the background painters. The rest of the instructions went to the camera department. So that's all I did. I was just the guy that ran that stuff all over the place, and got coffee for people. Paid pretty good though. That was a weird thing. I think it was one of the higher paid things I did, weirdly enough. But it wasn't terribly. And then after that, I did cell painting, but it wasn't on the actual finished work. It was on what would you call it? Like publicity stills. It was supposed to go for publicity and testers, people who were doing color check and whatnot. So there was a group of us that did some cell painting just for all these cell setups that weren't even part of the finished. That weren't even part of the finished film. So when you're looking at it, you're not even seeing anything I did, just some of the production work. But the new film's Party Pad, yay. Thoughts on Mainframe Studios. What did Mainframe do again? Were they the ones that did? I can see it. I can see the show, and I can't think of the name of it. Oh, I was talking about it with a friend of mine just a couple of weeks ago because he loved the series. I can't think of the name of it. Hey, Dylan. How you doing, Dylan? Good to see you. Good to see you all. Oh, God, Reboot. I think they did Reboot. If that's the one I'm thinking of. That's Mainframe. Reboot. There we go. Ha-ha! I got it. I couldn't think of the name of that, but yes, it came to me just before you typed it in. Reboot. Yeah, no, they did some good stuff. Reboot was... Do you know I didn't watch it that much at the time? There was a little bit... Hi, Matt. Of course you walk in at this moment. That was a senior moment more than anything else. I could see the show in my head, and just the name went poof out of my head. Yeah, at the time I didn't watch it that much, and there was a little bit of, I don't know what you call it, animosity maybe, because we were trying to do traditional animation and digital animation was coming in so quickly, and it was pushing us. It was kind of pushing us out of work. But the show was good. Like, it was really well written. It was a Canadian show. It was shot not far from me. I think I even tried to get into the studio to see if I could do any kind of preliminary work on it. Yeah, it really is. It was one of the cooler Canadian studios. Oh, is that right? Some of the computer gear they used. Yeah. But I remember dropping off a resume. I think it was the same studio. And if it's the one I'm thinking of, it was in Oakville too, if that's the same one. No, Oakville did the one for video games. Oh, you're asking me to remember things 30 years ago. But yeah, it was. It really was. Everybody, even some friends of mine that were in animation, talked about it and just were like, "This is like a really amazingly well written, like really, really well written." And it had some cool voice work. Some really cool people did some really neat. The villain, I forget. The villain was like a popular actor, and yeah, people loved it. Anyways, this is going nowhere, this thing. The idea was talking about how to flip it and see all your mistakes when you flip something. I should just come on here and just talk about like animated shows. I think it's to talk. What do you think about this one? I don't know. Like I don't know the age groups of too many of the people here. I know Matt. What were stuff that you? What were shows that you like to watch? Oh well, hit me up. We'll chat. You have to watch the beginning of this video. I have to. I'm gonna have to move again in 2 months. So maybe that's going to kind of invade my life a little bit. It's getting everything packed and going through the moving process, and it's going to stress me out a lot. I'm going to try and do this and not have a heart attack this time. But if you can wait, if you don't mind, if everybody can just wait till August, and when I get settled in, I can better then pull together the pieces of my life again, and better kind of make some decisions on things. So hit me up in August for sure, and we'll chat if you want to do something. People get excited when I say I worked on Babar, but I remember it wasn't for very long. I didn't do very much with it. I just did some in-betweening. But yes, I maybe it's because I don't know. I held some of the original drawings in my hand, and I made a few for the in-between somewhere in there. I I don't even remember the episodes that I did, but in-betweening is a very monotonous process. And you're kind of here, I'll show you. Like, most people know what in-betweening is, but I'll show you what I mean. Let me grab the eraser here, and why it's kind of not. Some people are really good at it. Some people like it and they're really good at it. And I just it wasn't that I wanted to be an animator. It wasn't that. A lot of people are like, I want to do animation, and they say you have to start kind of doing in-betweening first before you can kind of. Oh, it did a little bit, didn't it? The fat and the bald head. Let me see here if I can kind of indicate what I mean by in-betweening. Most people know what I mean, but you'll see why. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to just use the standard, because the animation thing on Clip Studio is a little confusing and I'm not used to using it. If I could set up my iPad, I could show you on that. But I have a way I can actually do it on this, so you'll see what I'm talking about by adding the layers and changing the transparency. So key drawings were done by the animator that was meant to drawings push to these extremes in animation. So if somebody's going to grab a glass, you might have the hand up here, and then it's going to grab the glass, and this is a motion before it stops, right? So there's a hand, and then it grabs the glass. So the key animator will draw the hand up here, and then he'll draw the next one, which is around the glass. And that motion, he can figure out approximately how much time that takes to do that motion. It maybe takes less than a second, like half a second, right? So there's half. Working on twos, let's say we're working on twos. Back in the day when we used to use film runs at 24 frames a second. Shooting on twos means we're only going to do 12 drawings per second. So there'll be 2 pictures taken for every frame of film. Your eye won't pick that up. A lot of films, like even some of the big Disney movies, were shot on twos because it goes by so quickly that your eye and your brain can really only register about 12 a second. TV shows run now with the way digital TV works, they run 30 frames a second, same with like YouTube. That's why it gives this nice natural motion that we're looking at. But animation, because of how snappy movement it is, you can get away with 12, and your brain doesn't really register it. So if you shoot on 2s, and for 1 second, that's 12 drawings a second. So that hand motion from up here, grabbing the glass, that's half a second. And shot on 2s, guess how many drawings that would be? How many would that be? Bueller? That's right, it's 6. So you have 6 drawings. Here to here. And you figure out the motion. So the slower something is, the more drawings, right? The faster something is, the fewer drawings, because there's a jump, right? So the motion might start faster and then slow down. So you would figure out, so the animator will put down a timing chart in the corner that shows the breakdown of how many drawings that is and where those drawings would go. Because there's a slow in and a slow out. There's a secondary action where the hand might reach up and then go down. So we might kind of indicate that first. But just for sake of showing what key drawings are, I can kind of show you that. So let's see here. My hand drawings are terrible right now. So there's a hand, crude as it is. Okay, so you have this hand here, and it's going to grab a glass that's down here. Now I'm going to do another drawing on top of that, and okay, good, I can see the layer underneath. So we're going to make this number 1. And 1, 2, just to name them. And I don't know, there'll be a glass here, right? 1 second here, I'm doing it again. That looks terrible. There's some fingers back there, that's fine. You get the idea, okay? So he's going to grab a glass that's on the table, and he's going to come down. Now that motion, especially if you say look at the tip of the finger and the tip of the thumb, we're going to add in another drawing here. He might add a timing chart like this in the corner. There's drawing 1, drawing 2, right? We're going to get a slow in and a snap to grab around the glass. So we'll probably have one that's going to be about halfway through. Right, we'll put 1 there. Remember, this is how many drawings we're doing again? Right, we're doing 6. So it's going to pick up speed. There's going to be a slow in and a slow out. So let's do another one halfway between these two. Now it's picking up speed, so we'll do another half one here between these two. 2, 3, 4. Now I have 5. Now that 6 drawings is going to include the first one. It can make a really slow motion, but you can see there's going to be a snap motion here. So that one halfway in here is this drawing. So from here to here, you might not get any. It's just going to snap and grab around it. Maybe we should do another little one. We could do another one right close to the end as it's grabbing the glass, because it might slow down a little bit just as it's grabbing it, right? I'm not going to do all of these. But an in-betweener does have to follow the motion. What might happen is that the hand starts like this, and it might widen a bit to get prepared to grab the glass. So you might take that into consideration. Sometimes an animator will put something called a breakdown in, and he might do a breakdown drawing, which is kind of another key that's an in-between. They might do that once in a while if there's a shift in the motion partway through. Right, so I am out of tea. That's sad. So this is is everyone staying with me on this, or did I just lose everybody? Another thing you have to do as a in-betweener, especially if you have a jump like this. If you have a jump like this and you're not kind of falling between two really close drawings, you're finding one that's just going in between the two, it's easier to keep your proportions. When you have a jump like this and you're looking at this, you're looking at the trajectory of the thumb. Is it doing an arcing motion? Because arcs are a thing in animation, right? So you're going to figure like this, right? Whoops. And the hand, the middle would probably be here. But look at the size of the thumb. We want to keep that consistent. That was my trouble, I think, too, is that sometimes my volume would be off. Whoops. And then it has to go to a checker. And then they yell at you. It's wrong. No, they don't yell at you. But they'll tell you if something's not working right. You'll have to fix this and do this again. Sometimes you might just have to kind of redo it from scratch. Or if you can go in and fix it, then that's... I'm still not doing this right. I'm not paying attention. I haven't done in-betweening for a long time because I don't like in-betweening. You get the idea, right? And I've kind of made it the volume's off a little bit there. I could probably clean that up a little bit and fix the volume just a tad bit, as I did here with this. You get the idea, right? So it's just moving so far. But that's this one here. So you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This, then, going by this chart, which one would this be? This is drawing number, Bueller. Which number is this? It's right, it's drawing number 4. So that is number 4. This is 1. And this, I put 2 down there. That's going to be 6. And that's 6, right? Does that make sense? We'll do another one. I'm just going to call it hand. Why is that not working? I'm doing another one here, and it's going to go right in through here, right? You can see the wrist position. Actually, yeah, that wrist is... might be here. So you end up seeing that as we do another hand through here, I'm not going to do all the detail on it. Right. And then we're going to add another one again, and then that one will go here. And you're looking at it through. So yeah, and that's where they talk about the onion skin. They call it onion skin. We just had normal bond paper that we had a light coming up through the bottom, and then Actually, sometimes we don't even use the light because there is a light. We have light tables and light boxes, and that way you can kind of see it through the top, and that's why they call it the onion skin, because it's like looking through tracing paper. There's a light underneath. A lot of the time, they trained us at the very beginning when I went to Sheridan. They trained us to turn the light off. And I know you're just like a gasp. It taught you to look. It taught you to look at what you were flipping, to keep flipping, draw, flip, draw, flip, draw. And you would look at and you'd see those differences between the two drawings. If your eye can pick up that middle part, right, it forces you to pick up that middle part and learn to see what it is you're looking, as opposed to relying on the light. What happens with the light is it ends up stiffening your line, and you become very tight and rigid about it because you're trying to almost trace between two drawings as opposed to seeing the fluid motion between the two drawings. And that's where you get why a lot of the old anime, when you start looking like old animation like Disney and Warner Brothers and Flasher, there's all this lovely fluid motion that you are not seeing anymore, right? This is why I hate what they call... it's awful, and I can't say it's not computer animation. The computers use it, but they take the image and it's like there's like a bone through it, and it bends the drawing, right? And it has a bone structure so it could move, but it looks like paper cutouts. And I guess if you're going for that kind of look, that's fine, but you don't get the natural motion turning. You can have different drawings come in to indicate some of that, but a lot of it is still like the eyes, they just shift the eye over as opposed to redrawing it to get that natural flow to it. So that's why you watch any kind of old animation, which is like, 90s and before, you'll get all this really, really nice animation to it, that now they're using this method of putting this bone structure in what looks like cutouts, and it doesn't, I don't know, it's passable. Kids watch the stuff, adults watch the stuff, and I guess as long as the story's good, they accept it. But it really is missing. It really, really is missing something. That's why I'm excited when I keep hearing about that they're going to bring back traditional animation. I haven't seen it yet. They've been talking about it for eons, but I haven't seen it yet. I'm hoping they do. Bring back animators, bring back in-betweeners. Hire people to do in-betweening, proper in-betweeners. Hire them. Don't rely on AI, don't rely on a computer, don't rely on all that. Get people who can hand draw in-betweening. As much as I know I'm the first to complain that I didn't like it and I wasn't very good at it. It wasn't where I wanted to be. But some people I know were really, really good at it and could do an amazing job with it. But I don't know if... whoops. Right. Oop. So, I know apparently they are. Apparently Disney's making one. We'll see. I haven't heard any kind of updates about it. I haven't heard anyone talking much about it. I know they've been talking about wanting to do it. Maybe it's in production already. It'd be wonderful if it is. I hope it is. I'm just sort of in a wait and see kind of mode. Because I think their last... I want to say their last hand-drawn animated film was The Princess Frog. Or sorry, The Frog Prince. Princess Frog. Frog and the... frog and the prince and the princess, and you know the one I'm talking about. I think that was the last one that they did, that they reopened their traditional animation department, made this movie, and then closed it again. The nice thing is now we have this wonderful online world here in YouTube where there are animators making 2D animated films, and some of them are alumni from Disney, which I think is great. Aaron Blaise is one of them. I look like I have a stick coming out of my head. I think I'm going to have to move that. I'm not worried about it right now. Sorry. Aaron Blaise. If you have not seen Snow Bear, go and look for Aaron Blaise Snow Bear. He, not only is it hand-drawn, traditional animation, some of it he did paper. Some of that he did, and he live streamed it all. Live streamed his whole production process. He put in live streams and put online, and I think you can even go back and see a lot of it. And it just missed the window to get in to be nominated for Best Animated Short. Maybe he might qualify next year. I don't know. Not only he should have been nominated, he should have won. That film looks incredible. Look for Snow Bear. It's about 12 minutes long. It's really funny. It's got a funny sense of humor to it, and it's just beautiful to look at. Also, Andre Deja has a film coming up as well. He has a short. Andre Deja is also another Disney alumni. He's another phenomenal artist. Andre Deja usually did villains with Disney. Andre Deja, like Jafar from Aladdin. I think one of his first big ones was Beauty and the Beast. He did Gaston. And what was the other big one he did? I forget. He did a lot of the villains. I think he did Scar. He did Scar from Lion King. Anyway, but he has a really beautiful looking film coming out. If you look up the name, I forget the name of the film. I'll have to find it. If you look it up, you'll find it on YouTube. There's trailers for it. It's a little girl and a tiger. It has a nice kind of sketchy storybook look to it. That's beautiful. Something about to say stick up my ass. Oh, I probably said so. Oh, this thing. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Oh, I got one of those too sometimes. Anyways, what's the time? I've been yakking for an hour. Everybody missed all the big stuff at the beginning. I've got 5 people watching. 4 people, actually, technically, because I've got my phone on here just to see if I can pick up. I haven't been looking at it. I usually put it on to see the comments because there is a big delay between what I'm saying and then what you're hearing. There's a good 30 seconds or more. So when you type to reply something, I'll see it on the phone sooner. If I have it sooner than how I'm, like, I've got Streamlabs open on the screen. I can see people's comments here, but they come through really late, and I'm not sure if it's Streamlabs or what it is, but I can read them here on the phone sooner than I can read them on the on Streamlabs. So hello again. Hi Matt, welcome. You haven't missed much. I'm still just talking about traditional animation. And yeah, I guess that's about it. If you saw my video last week, first of all, thank you. Second of all, you have to put on ultra low latency. I don't even know where that is on Streamlabs. It's fine. It's only about 30 seconds or so. It's not too bad. I have the phone open, and so I've got on something called so I have to sign in to chat on this thing, but if I sign in, then it takes me out of it. Can I do live chat? Maybe live does it. Refresh chat. Well, not refresh. Okay, there we go. That might be a bit better. Oh, that did too. Look at that. I put it on live chat. I refreshed it, and now it's booting up faster. Look at you. Look at you. Okay. Oh, now I've got more people coming in. I kind of did my thing. Every time I kind of finish the thing, people all start showing up. I can do something else, I guess, for a bit. I wanted to do something for people who want to people want to kind of make their own work but feel like they can't draw. I had this whole thing about doing a stick person. People say I can't draw a stick person, and I always say boulder dash and a phi diddly d. Of course you can draw a stick person. Anyone can. Even I can do that. The stick person is not hard. It's what you do with it. Because yeah, anyone can take. Look, how many of you out there draw and can't draw? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3. You with the hat, sit down. All right. So look, let me try and do it this way. Later on, doing something now. Ask me later, Dylan. I'll bring it up later on. It's under review. I'm sorry. Yes, that's fine. I can show it. I know what you're talking about. It is from Star Trek, the Gaygorn. That's fine. Okay. Well, if you've got some scrap paper or something and you've got enough room on it, or whatever you've got, you can grab something and follow along, follow the bouncing ball, and see. And I'll show you something here real quick. So something says draw stick man. Yeah. What do we got here? Brush size, pencil, still an eraser. There we go. So, and I'm still drawing like that. They'll draw a circle, and they'll do like that, right? Okay, stickman. Now this, amusingly, you can actually do a lot with this. Even these hideous proportions, you can still do something kind of amusing with that if you wanted to, because sometimes it's just imposing. So there's two things here we can do with it. You can stay with this sometimes and start bending it to convey emotions. You start giving it a little bit of emotions. And I mean, if you wanted to put a face on it and right. So if he was bent over, now he's kind of sad, right? But if he's arched the other way and you put his hands up and the legs out and the head like this, now he's happy, right? So right there, you've got a whole. You can tell. You can just looking at this middle one, right? There's just by putting it in that kind of pose can convey a whole emotion and a whole story in one pose, and we're not even drawing anything properly yet. We're just conveying emotion here, right? There's a lot of storytelling just in this, and you can convey a whole lot to another viewer, another person watching it, what's going on. So now if you want to play a bit more with the proportions, we can do this. Let's go back. Say goodnight, Charlie. All right. So we'll start with the head. And we're not going to go by, it's 7.5 heads high. Hold on for that. All right. So nice thing is I always tell people is try and be loose. Don't kind of sit and like that's why you see me kind of do this nice round thing like this, because we're you see it's one long continuous line and we're trying to land this nice soft shape. And you can it'll start strengthening your line quality if you can do that. But just kind of make one motion kind of with very, very comfortably with your arm and not try and go in like with your wrist. And I know that's a little hard to do and it looks awkward at first, but once you start doing it, it makes a whole change in the drawings. So let's do this, and we'll kind of add a bit of an arc to it. And it's a little long. Let's back up a little bit here. And we'll take about this height, this head, and this line is maybe a little longer than the head, right? And we'll take that whole thing, this whole amount here, and we're just going to double it again. And we'll just bring it down. Now that's probably a little bit short, but I ran out of room at the top. But that's fine. We can bring it all the way down. We'll make the joint up here, right? Now, instead of joining the arms here, draw a little line, a little wider than the head, across like this, just below it. So you've got enough room for a neck, and this is about the shoulders, the top of the rib cage. Because now, if you bring your hands down, if your hands hang down by your side, your fingertips come not quite halfway down your the thigh of your leg. So you can bring that down like this. Already you can see there's a lot more structure to that. I know I've been drawing for 40 years. I get it, but practice. Look, the head's too big, body's not proportioned, but we're already conveying like a lot more here. And if you wanted to, you could do the same thing as well with the hip. So let's try another one. I'll make the head a little bit smaller so I give myself more room. And we're going to do the same thing again here, widen it. And we can do a little bit narrower, just like this, right? And the legs can come down from here, right? Because this is where your hip joint is. The hip is kind of a triangular shape like this, and the body, rib cage. If you were to stand in front of an X-ray, we always kind of draw the body like this because we're going from the shoulders down to the waist, and we could have imagined these superhero figures, these V-tapers. Strip all that away and go down to the rib cage. We have a reverse thing going on. The Stickman games and short cartoons get millions of plays. Using Stickman can work. You can use these ones with all the extra lines. The rib cage goes in reverse. It's narrower at the top and wider at the bottom. It's barrel shaped, but I'm going to make it a little bit larger. It's barrel shaped, but it's wider at the top, or sorry, wider at the bottom and narrow at the top, and then comes up like this. There's a sternum here, right? So it's basically like this, right? Wider at the top, or wider at the bottom, narrow at the top. Right. Little anatomy thing for you there. Yeah, that's if you want to get really crazy with this. And then why it's a V-tape is because we're coming out, the shoulders are out here. Your shoulders are not attached to your rib cage. The shoulder joint. People keep drawing that like here. I'm like, no, your shoulders are out here, right? And that's why we have these collarbones and a spine and all that attaches this. And that's why, with there's flesh and cartilage, everything under here that bring it down. Then you have the ribs, right? So, so you actually have this reverse thing going on. You have like a reverse triangle. You have a triangle within a triangle like this, right? You have the rib cage here, and then the rest of what fleshes out around it builds out this way. You know, if you when you start gaining weight, or if you get really fat, then that kind of, right? But that this still kind of follows around it. Right, so you can see kind of what's going on. Is this losing people, or am I following you here? All right. Let's go back. So again, even with the simplified one on the left, and we'll just say we'll add this little stick in here. you go back to doing those expressive drawings, you can find you can do a lot with them. So you have, oh God, what is that? I don't like that one. Sorry. So he could still not the what is that one? That was a G pen. Did I do something? I don't know. Fine. So you could do this. You can add feet on it if you want. And we'll draw the page, and then you can draw them up, and then elbows you can add on it, and add hands on the head, and he's right, and then elongate the eyes to shock, right? Again, it's all in the expression and how you tell it, and how you pose something, and it's like an upside down Triforce from The Legend of Zelda. An upside down Triforce, which I'm not sure what that is. I was never a big video game player. Unfortunately, these things just sorry. I don't know. And it's funny because I came through the era where most people saw the first video games. I remember I was babysitting for somebody, and they bought, what was it called, Atari. And so after the little one went to bed, I remember playing Pac-Man. And I kind of enjoyed it. They had Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and Centipede, I think was it, and the other one with the little aliens that come down and the little thing that go back and forth and you have to blow them up. Alien Invaders, I forget what it was called. But those were the four big ones I remember they had, and I used to play those four after they went to bed till like 2 a.m. But that was it. I was never a big and then eventually I know I got a PlayStation 2 for a while, about 12 years ago or more now. I got a PlayStation. I used to enjoy the Pac-Man game and Spyro. I had fun with those. I wasn't very good at it, but I had fun with them. I just like the character designs and the graphics and that kind of thing. I think I played the James Bond one for a little while. My dad bought it for me. I enjoyed the PlayStation 2 for a while, but it's certainly dated now. You can't exactly just hook that one up and play that anywhere anymore. I don't think they work with current monitors and TV. That wouldn't work. The screen ratio size is all different. But anyways, yeah. So there you go. There's your Stickman lesson of the night. What can I do here? Any questions? Another one here. I'm going to be doing a little thing on perspective. Perspective is always fun if you get it. Some people get it, some people don't. So there's a while ago, somebody was doing all these videos about drawing comics, and oh my God, they were awful. So and he did this thing where he was trying to show about perspective. Okay, thank you. I'll have a look for that later. Thanks, Dylan. I'll check that later on afterwards, see what that is. Cheers. And so he did is he drew the box, right? And then tried to do this with the lines. And when I tried to explain perspective, I think he took it quite offensively, but I was just trying to help him with it. And he was like, I don't understand what you're explaining. I'm just going to do it my way. Can't help you if that's going to be it. If you're going to go, I'm just going to do it my way. Nothing worse than that. I had school like that. I don't understand what these instructors are trying to teach me. I'm just going to do it my way. Knock yourself out. Your stuff's going to suck the rest of your life, but you do you. And I'll tell someone that too. Because perspective's not hard. It's really not. Perspective's super easy. If you want to learn perspective drawing, I could show it to you and sit down with a couple of hours and teach you 1, 2, and 3-point perspective, and you will be able to draw just about anything from that, any kind of structure. And it's not hard. It's just a bit of practice after that. Once you see it, it's not hard math. I don't think it's that complicated. I think this guy was just being stubborn and was offended that I was showing him this. But if you have a horizon line and then you have a point, that's your vanishing point. Your vanishing point is where everything disappears because stuff gets smaller in the distance to the point you can't see it anymore. And that point you can't see it anymore is this right here. It's the vanishing point. So if I have a front of a box, draw a little bit wider like that, not much. I didn't leave enough room there. Sorry, let me move this over. Sorry. I want to make sure this is clear. Let's say it's a tall box. Because if you're on a phone, I know it's hard to see. And then before you start trying to draw the rest of the box, take the 2 corners and draw it to that line. Right? Oh, God, I can't even draw a straight line tonight. Do as I say, not as I do. What is going on with my pen? Okay, my pen's screwed up. Right, so you draw the 2 lines back there. You can see it. This is like a really long box now that's disappearing into the distance. So let's cut the edge off. And there it is, right? I don't know. Did that lose anyone? Are we confused? Karos? I think I saw that. Probably. Who's Karos? Are we talking video games again, Dylan? But let's go back for a little bit. I'm going to show you 2 points. There's 1 point, and you can move that box up and down. Now, the further you move something over, something happens. Because if a box keeps moving over and you have to turn your head, you're now seeing more of the one side, and that front part is moving further away from you. It creates a second vanishing point. Right? So if your second vanishing point is over here, and I know I'm pushing this off the wrong way. Now we're looking at the corner of the box here. Right, there's the front corner. You can draw your lines. And I'm just freehanding it. You don't have to be... And then draw the edges. There you're cutting off the boxes there. And there you have your box right there. And the rest of that you can erase if you want. It's looking a little wonky, but that's fine. And 2-point drawing and 1 point, yeah. Oh, okay, all right. And then if you want to even show the inside of the box, you connect the same line. So you're looking at the front here, which is going to be parallel with the one inside. These corners here can also go to that vanishing point. And I'm not going to carry them all the way through, but you can see just by adding that in. Now you've got this box here, and you can see the inside of it. Right? There's 1 and 2 point perspective. Did I lose anyone on that? Is that complicated? It's not hard. If you want to draw, you have to learn how to do this. If you want to do any kind of drawing, if you want to make your own independent comics, learn this so your stuff looks right. Don't draw a cartoon character and then lift, I don't know, like find, I know some people that just get clip art from other places, like a house in the background. I can't draw houses, so I just took it from somewhere else. And even if that source is free, even if it's not, you're not taking it from somebody else, you're finding some free clip art or something online. Here, one moment. I want to check something. I don't know if I'm losing you here. Oh, I forgot that's open. Oh, I forgot. I went and did this thing. And I'm going to do it in just a moment. Isometric drawings. Isn't that kind of what perspective is in a way? You're trying to represent like three-dimensional objects on like a flat sheet of paper on a two-dimensional space, if that's not mistaken. Hold on one moment. Sorry, I got my lip is cut. I've done kind of drafting stuff too in that in the past. It's not terribly exciting though. It kind of bored me, but I was pretty good at it, but I was just kind of bored with it. Oh, okay. Oh, so that's okay. So it's where you get like a repeated pattern that's sort of supposed to be, but it's not in perspective. Is that what it is? I'm maybe. Oh, hold on one second. I'll be right back. I whatever it is, I'm not as that familiar with it. Then, yeah, I couldn't tell you either. Hey, listen. Before since I'm at midnight here, before I go, I started a merch store and I made a little ad for it. And since I put all this effort into making this 1 minute ad for the merch, I'm going to run it. And then I'm going to be right back because I do need to get a drink of water. My throat's sore. But the link for the merch store is down below. I only have about 20 items in there, but I've got a merch store. The Gorn drawing that you're talking about, Dylan, is not up yet because I have to fix something on it. There's something wrong with it, and I have to fix the drawing. Once it's fixed, I'm going to get it up. It's running late, I know. It's already June, but the gay Gorn is coming. So anyways, I'll be back in a minute, and here's a word from my own sponsor, which is me. I'll be right back.
AIDS may taste like a candy, but AIDS contains one of the most effective appetite suppressants you can buy, and there's no stimulant in AIDS that could make you nervous.
I just wish you'd seen it. High and light and moist.
Stop it, dear. I'm starving.
Look, Betty, you have gonorrhea. You may have given it to somebody else, or somebody may have given it to you. Who gave it to whom doesn't really matter. But what does matter is that if we don't bring the contacts in for examination and treatment, VD will keep right on spreading. So?
Hi again. All right. Well, I don't know if there's anything more I can do here. I know, isn't it great? That was done like I think the late '60s. That commercial, I thought it was hilarious the first time I saw it, and it was electric. Of course, all the batteries in the front of it. I thought that was great. And now we have electric cars. People still don't like them for some reason. Anyways, I don't know. Is there any other? Does anybody have any other questions? Does anybody want to know something? Does anybody want to learn how to draw something? Not that I can necessarily show the whole thing tonight, but if you have any suggestions for things you'd like to see on here, I'm open to maybe attempting some ideas over the next month or so. Come July, it's going to be harder to do this because I'm packing. And getting ready for the big move. So yeah, if you have any thoughts, ideas, suggestions, please feel free to throw them out. If you're interested in drawing and learning how to draw, please, you want to draw a hummingbird? I can do that. I'm losing my hair. God. Yeah, I can. So, it's very specific, but I can do things like that too. I am the type of. Here's another thing too. I think I tell people, like, I'll look up something first. If you ask me to say draw a hummingbird. I don't know offhand what they specifically look like, so I would have to open up an image of one and look at it. I am the type of person, don't be afraid of reference material. There's this whole stigma, and I've heard some artists do it, and I think it's terribly rude of them to say, you shouldn't be using reference. Most big artists, great artists, use reference. You have to. Can you draw a simple skeleton like the one you drew earlier, so we can get the basics? Yeah, I can do that. I'm going to do a whole thing on the skeleton. If you can hold off, it won't be tonight, but I'm going to do a whole breakdown of like the human body. Like I'll do the whole. Can I switch this without losing everybody? I won't do the whole thing tonight, but I'll do a whole breakdown to show the proportions, and because I'm going to go from like doing the basic stickman to and I went in the room here to show joints, right, to show this kind of thing, so that we can have this sort of you get an idea of what the human figure looks like. So I can do that. And I've done some stuff like that before, and I can do things like that again if you want. Hummingbirds, I'm used to sort of cartoonizing things. So right, so that's really quick and that's really crude. There you go. So there's a hummingbird, and there's a skeleton all in one night. But I can go over how to take something like this, how I can take like a really simplified like an image and make like a really simplified cartoon out of that, and I can go through the whole steps on how that's how I would approach something like that. Understand, of course, like I can show you some basic ideas for things like this. I've been drawing for over 40 years, and on and off, because I've I stopped for a number of years, and I was never able to stay consistent with it. But I can show you the basics of what it is that you should look for, and how to approach something, whether it's a hummingbird or whether it's a skeleton, whatever it is that you're drawing, and how to approach that. And I can use them as examples. I think so. Drawing. So here's a trick with reference, and I'll tell you what it is. It depends on how good your memory is, because I don't have photographic memory, right? Like I just don't have that. So I do need to learn to look at something, and I want to understand it. The idea is to draw it enough so that you can draw something eventually without reference, but you'll never be able to draw everything. We can't keep an entire library of the entire world in our head. So if somebody suddenly asks you to draw something you're not familiar with, you can draw out its interpretation that you have in your head on paper. And if that's kind of all you're going for, then that's great. But if you really want to indicate fully what is going on in that image, what is going on in your drawing, what is going on in this object, and how you convey all of that in the drawing, then you obviously am going to need a reference. Ask me to draw a car. I could probably draw a very crude looking car, a cartoonish car, but to sit down and actually see all the details of a car, even if I'm doing a cartoon of it, I still need to see the actual thing so that I have a better idea of how I'm approaching it on a drawing. So I'd rather have the actual thing. And if I start drawing it enough, if I'm working on a project and I've drawn it over and over and over, then eventually, sure, it sticks with you and it'll be in my memory. And then I can draw it, I can do the project, and then move on. But if I move on and I start working on drawing, I don't know, something else, gorillas and dressers and anything else, houses, and then I have all of a sudden, maybe a year or two later, I'm coming back to cars, it's not there anymore, right? Like, unless I've kept drawing cars my whole life, it's going to be gone. But I've been busy drawing other things, so I have to come back to the reference. And I might come back, go, okay, I remember doing this, I remember doing that. But otherwise, no. And there are people who have memories like steel traps, and I don't have one. One of the greatest animators that ever lived was a man named Milt Kahl, who worked for Disney for many years. He was apparently nearly impossible to work with, but he was a phenomenal artist and a phenomenal animator. He did some of the most well-known characters, and he had a certain flair and look to his work and his animation that was unmistakable. He drew for the 1968 Jungle Book Shere Khan. Is it Shere Khan? The tiger. Whichever one is the tiger. I don't have time for that. The big mean tiger. Because I know there was a couple of different cats and I keep getting them back. Yeah, Bagheera was the black one. Shere Khan, I think, was the villain of the story. And he had studied tigers so much and drew them so much that eventually, when he came to drawing it for the Jungle Book, he just understood the movement so well and knew how to draw them that he was able to do the whole thing from memory. Some people can just do that. I could never probably do that. I have to probably keep bringing up pictures up all over the place and remind myself of what it looked like. Maybe he did. Who knows? That's why you see animators and have pictures all over their desk. Sometimes they have to learn how to do it. Remember when they did The Lion King? When they drew that back in the 90s, there's pictures of all the animators sitting in the studio. They brought in big cats right into the studio, and they were all drawing these cats, learning how to draw them. My throat is starting to hurt a lot. I'm not used to talking this much for an hour, and I'm losing viewers. So I'm going to call it here. But yeah, I say look at something and try and draw it over and over again until you get a really good solid idea of what it feels like, and then try again. Then go back to Disney, and it's back to. I'm reading something at the same time. Bill Titus. Oh, okay, very cool. From the Disney greats, yeah, Bill Titus. I've heard that name before. I never had to say it right. Yeah, draw it, and then try and draw it from memory, and you'll find you'll learn more about the object. Anyways, I'm going to call it there. But I will do the best I can over the next 7 or 8 weeks, because I'll be moving. Then I got to settle in the new place, and that'll take a little while. That's a whole nother thing in and of itself. Whew. Hopefully it won't be so bad, because I'm going to have a smaller space. But yeah, take care, Dylan. I'll definitely try and be back. I'm trying to do something once a week, whether it's a video or a live stream, at least once a week, for as long as I can. But take care, everyone. Thank you for popping in, for all the people who join me. And we'll probably see you all probably again in the near future. If not this weekend, probably early next week. And I'll come a little more prepared. Take care, everyone.